Pascal. You are now rocking with that dude Pascal. We be going wild, Haitian in the building, so original. Got the haters catching feelings. Get your hands up to the ceiling and keep them held high. Cause St. Louis isn't ready. Forget about it, goodbye. Hold up, we just saying hi. Five somebody rise up. Weekdays catch us live. Somebody, let's go.
Good afternoon. Good evening and good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Pascal Show. Hey! Yes! We got internet again! We got our internet! Ah! I'm so happy right now. You have no idea. You have no idea how happy I am right now, y'all. But anyway, hopefully you guys are all doing well out there. Hope this show finds you in good spirits. Another day above the dirt is always what? It is always a blessing. Let us not forget that. We're back in the purple-ish room. Yes, we are. We are back. Some of the settings are still kind of weird. I will say that, but we're working on it. Let me make sure. Can you guys hear me? Let me make sure. You guys can hear me, right? Oh, snap. Hold on. Hold on. What the heck? Hold on, guys. Hold on. That's weird. Okay, so another question, though. Can you hear the music? Can you hear the music that's playing in the background? Hit the number 1 and let me know you guys can hear the music playing in the background. Like, literally can play it. Hear it. You guys can hear all this? Okay, I'm just making sure. Jeez Louise, what a pain in the butt. Anyway, great. Okay, yes, the music is a little bit loud. Sorry, I just had it cranking. I just want to make sure this doggone thing is working, okay? Okay, good. So you guys can hear the music. You guys can hear the microphone, not the background, but the actual microphone. Okay, good. Ha! Okay, yes! Back at it again. Room is back. Some of the settings are a little weird. I'll fix it. I'll figure that out and fix that later. You know, we just got to do it live. We got to get straight into the point. Okay, so we're here for day number 7 in this trial. Quite a bit of things that are going on, as you guys already know. So do me a favor before we get into everything. Hit that like button down below. Crush that reaction button if you're watching on other platforms. If you are watching on those other platforms, like Facebook, X/Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Rumble, okay? Please be sure to hit that follow button. Don't forget to subscribe here on my main channel. Come on, man. What you missing out on? You know what I mean? Or why you missing out on the good times on this channel, okay? Please be sure to do that, okay? Hit that subscribe button. Subscribe. Go to my second channel, The Pascal Show Clips. Make sure you're subscribed over there. Okay. Excuse me. Okay. The Pascal Show Clips, because we're back and running again. So we are going to be, there's a lot of cover. Man, there's so much catching up I got to do. So just get ready. Hit that notification bell because there's a lot going on, even outside of this Diddy trial. Okay. So do that for me. All right. Please do me a favor. Okay. Now, hit that join button down below. Become a member. Check out my Patreon. Check out my locals. And of course, check out PascalMerch.com. Okay, guys? PascalMerch.com. All right, guys. Oh, my damn. I am very, very happy about being back in this room. Whoops, wrong button. I am very, very happy about being back in this room. There is so much that happened today so far, okay? There's a lot going on in the Diddy trial. In fact, there are some things I did not know was going to drop. So there's going to be a lot of this sound effect. You already know it. There's going to be a lot of that going on today, okay? Because there's a lot of stuff that's been brought up. Some other names have been dropped. And that's just on half of the day, okay? There's a lot of things that his personal his former personal assistant said in his own testimony that is absolutely mind-blowing. Then on top of that, they kind of squeezed in a lot of things, squeezed in a lot of people in the first half of the day. You had David James, former personal assistant, on the stand, coming in for his second day of testimony, because his first day was very, very short and minimal. Okay. But then you have Cassie's mama. Yes, Cassie's own mama steps up and testifies, which had a very interesting and strange result. I'm going to be real. I was very shocked about the results. And I don't mean by results. I mean by what the defense ended up doing, which we will talk about in a little while. I'm not going to talk about it right now. Okay. But nonetheless, very, very shocking information. Very, very shocking move that they did, defense. Then we are finally going to hear they're starting to do, well, they're going to be wrapping up their lunch here soon. And then they are going to finally have more testimony from the Punisher. And I know a lot of us are like, who the F is the Punisher? Well, the Punisher is apparently a S worker that worked and was hired by Diddy and Cassie, by the way, to perform in these freak-offs that we all have known and learned about over the past, year now. So again, some very wild and shocking stuff has come out, and it's going to be really shocking to hear everything. Hold on real quick. I just need to hear something. Shocking stuff has come out, and it's going to be really shocking. Okay, so we're good. I just want to make sure everything's rolling the way it needs to be going. Now, here's the thing. I played this last time, and then we got hit with a tornado, so I feel like I just need to play it one more time because I must challenge the gods, right? But Diddy has a tendency to really believe this.
Whenever I want, I get whatever I want, I fucking get.
It kind of sounds a lot like him nowadays. So again, Diddy's crazy. Can we just come to the agreement that Diddy is absolutely crazy? That man is in the land of Delulu. And what's even more crazy about this is a guy who has been nothing but surrounded by sycophantic people. Even when we heard David James in his testimony in the very beginning, we're not even talking about today's testimony because he has a lot that he says in his testimony, which is absolutely crazy. But what he said yesterday, when he went and tried to get the gig, right? When he was going and, he was trying to get hired. He was getting interviewed for the job of his assistant at that time. As he sat there, he's listening to one of the other people that works at Bad Boy Records. And they said, basically, he is the king. And we all are here to serve Diddy. That is it. That's instantly what was planted in his brain before he even got the gig, before he even got the job. Then they had him do some, typical kind of like a computer type stuff, the computer administration type stuff. We need you to do take these 40 appointments, and I need you to spread them out through, schedule them out, and we want to see how you do, right? Even after doing all that stuff, he sits down with Diddy, and in the interview, Diddy says, "Why do you think you deserve this job?" And he said something along the lines of, which is one of Diddy's coined phrases. He said, "Can't stop, won't stop." Literally. And Diddy hired him because he said, "Because I can't stop, won't stop. And I'll be can't stop, won't stop for you," right? Pretty insane, crazy stuff that has gone down, right? And of course, David James is up there on the stand, and he's immediately breaking down into tears, y'all, crying, completely torn. Why? I'm still trying to understand why. Is it because of the things that he saw? Or is it just because he's scared for his own life? That's something I'm kind of worried, not worried, but I'm kind of curious about, right? That's one thing I'm definitely kind of curious about. Hold on. I think let's see. Nope. Got it right. Okay. Sorry. All the settings are all weird and everything. Like I said, there's something weird with the camera, but I'm gonna deal with it later. Okay. But nonetheless, he got the job. And he was there for a good long time, for about 2 years, until one moment, which we're going to see in this testimony, because we're going to be reading through it in a second. Until one moment, he literally said, I am scared for my life now. I am literally scared for my life. I'm not rocking with this no more. I'm out. I'm chucking up the deuces. In fact, I'm going to give you a 6-month heads up. I'm going to give you, instead of him giving his 2 weeks, he said, I'm giving you my 6 months so that you can find another personal assistant so that the transition from me to that new personal assistant is seamless and you don't have any problems. But yes, all because Suge Knight showed up to a diner. And no, this is not the start of a really messed up joke. This is actually what actually happened. There was a sighting of Suge Knight at a diner. According to David James, David James said the people ran back over, his people, Diddy's people, came back over to Diddy. And again, according to Cassie, Diddy was in the middle of a freak off. They were in the middle of, bumping the uglies, lathering baby oil all over each other's bodies, making their skin glisten, right? He finds out about this. So he goes and grabs his stuff, gets strapped up. And I don't mean the other type of strap on. You know what I mean? The pew pew. So apparently he grabbed a couple of these weapons and then he drove out there with the personal assistant. And the personal assistant sitting there going, I don't really think I want to go. I don't want to go. I don't think I should go. Sir, I don't want to go. I don't want to go. He still took him with him to the point where the guy was so scared. He said, you know what? I'm putting my 6 months in. I'm done. I didn't know my life was going to be on the line working for the likes of Bad Boy Records. I thought we were just going to go, Diddy bop, Diddy bop, Diddy bop. And that's it. But nope. No. Oh, no. Now you have him seeing Diddy with pew-pews running down the street to go see Suge Knight. But like I said, this is just the tip of the iceberg of this testimony. There's so much more that's being said in this testimony, and we have got to get into it. I'm going to give you guys a fair warning. Tomorrow, I will be starting much earlier. Today could not happen. It could not happen. But tomorrow, I'm going to be starting much earlier. Just a heads up, because of course, I want you guys to be a part of this. I know that they are ending trial days earlier now. So of course, I want to be able to cover as much as I can while we can. And of course, there's a lot of stuff that just keeps getting dropped. And I'd rather you guys see that. I'd rather you guys see that in real time, right? And there's a lot going on. So tomorrow we will be on much earlier than just noon, just so you know. There's going to be a lot of dead time. I'm going to be real because, as we're sitting there hitting refresh. That's the one thing I hate more than anything in the world is sitting around waiting to refresh, waiting for the new update, right? But at the same time, it is what it is, right? So we're here to give you guys the information as much as we can. And so we're going to get into it in just a minute. Do me a favor, though. Hit that like button down below, please, and thank you. I see a bunch of y'all in here. I appreciate all y'all for being here. It really means a lot, as I always say. Do me a solid. All right, hit that like button. Hit it. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Subscribe please and thank you. And yeah, we got to get straight into this meat and potatoes. So let's get to the start of this and where it all began today. All right. So he returns to the stand. This is, of course, his second day of testimony. He's wearing a blue suit and white shirt. I guess the same suit that he wore yesterday. I mean, shoot, he only wore it for like 5 seconds on camera or, in the courtroom. I mean, might as well rock it. And also another thing is too, not a lot of people have multiple suits. Some people just have one and that's it. You know what I mean? It's okay. It's okay to just have one suit. Shoot, it's okay. Many ways you can change, flip it around and do something different with it. You feel me? But anyway, let's get into this. After he got the job, remember, he got the gig. He said, can't stop. Can't stop. Won't stop. Right? Yeah. And he said, Diddy's like, yeah, I like him. I'm hiring you. Right? So he gets the job. So David James said he didn't witness any physical violence between Cassie and Combs, but testified that he did see a blog post alleging Diddy put his hands on Cassie at a club. So Diddy allegedly searched David James's computer history and then became upset, telling James that someone was lying. The former assistant called it jarring because Diddy had never searched his computer history before. And I mean, it'd be weird if he was like looking at his, like his adult content search, and he's like, "Oh man, bro, you need to up your game. Dang, you don't know about this? You don't know about this baby oil? You don't know about cucking? You don't know anything about that? Let me peep you on game, son. Baby oil, other man, yeah." Moving on, though, and there's some things in here that are going to be disturbing. I'm telling you right now, because there's things about supplements to produce more man juice. Nut juice, yeah, okay. Which is weird because we already heard about the nut juice on the chesticles. Yeah, so we still have that too. He had supplements. I'm not kidding. Apparently, according to David James, in his little satchel, okay, his little medicine satchel that he had on his person at all times. Not only would there be substances like party favors, but then also things to make more nut juice. Oh my damn. And it's funny because I was sitting there thinking about it. I'm like, why would he need to be blasting loads, right? And then I realized, no, it's not for him. It's for the S workers. Oh, just you know what I mean? Smearing it on his chesticles, on the nipples, y'all. Okay? Yeah, apparently I didn't even know that even existed. So there's apparently substances that exist to create more semen. Yeah. To create more skadoosh. Yeah. So it just comes out like a fire hose. Yeah. And he was buying this supplement so that he could supply it for his S workers. You got to remember, not only did he use the other supplements that make you feel good, like, oh my God, your shirt feels amazing, stuff like that. I love the world. I just want to hug the world, that kind of thing. He also had supplement, and also the things that make you rigid, strong, like bull. You know what I mean? From the waist down. Okay. Not only did he have those, he also had supplements that would help produce more spunk. Yeah. Sorry. I know a lot of y'all is eating right now because please don't tell me you're sipping on a white smoothie right now or eating vanilla ice cream. I'm sorry. But just so you know, he had those supplements for his S workers, not for him. And in fact, it still makes me wonder, is his weed whacker minimal? Remember, there's allegations about him and his, itty bitty Diddy. And I'm wondering if it is really itty bitty. Because it kind of does make sense if you really think about it. Like, yeah, I needed these guys with huge hogs destroy my girlfriend right in front of me. It's got to be that. Yeah, it's a Tootsie Roll. I'm sorry. Why does the song Tootsie Roll come into my head? Tootsie Roll to the left, to the right. Ah, stop. All y'all are going to hell, okay? I'm kidding, you're not, okay? Blessings to all of you. But again, like I said, we haven't even got there yet. I'm sorry. I got a little nut juice, chesticles. So let's get into this, okay? Like I said, this is a little weird, all right? That's a little bit weird. So the package that he would carry around, not that package, but this little package, I'm sorry. I can't. I'm not even making these jokes up. Okay. These jokes are writing themselves. But the bag that he would have, the little satchel, he had the Vienna sausage, the Wiener Schnitzel. Okay. The Wiener Schnitzel. Okay. So outside the bag that he had, all right, that bag that he calls the medicine bag had all of these types of chemicals, substances, etc., including that substance to make more spunk. And that was not for him. That was for the mans. And also, remember, the more goo, you know what I mean? The more he gets to put it on his body. I'm dead. Okay, I'm dead. All right, let's move on. Just so you know, I don't know, we just had to linger on that. Did you have to let it linger? Yeah, I did. I had to. That's some crazy stuff. Okay. And if you can't tell, I'm very excited to be back in this room. Okay. I'm just very excited. Okay. Weird stuff going on with the diddler. And even if he's exonerated, even if he's found not guilty on any of these charges, there's no coming back from this. I'm sorry. There is no coming back from this. But real quick, Immortal, thank you so much for being a member for the past, 50 months. You an OG, baby. If it's a pain in the butt, maybe reach out to. No, I'm not calling Diddy anytime soon. Not never. I don't care if I need money. I'm still not calling him. Right, Don? Okay, moving on. Yeah, his reputation has been annihilated. It's his reputation's been in the guillotine, and whole thing just lopped off. Gone. Okay, probably like his weed whacker. Okay, I'm done now. So Diddy was searching through David James's computer because he went and looked up this whole allegation, which most likely is true, where Diddy attacked Cassie. Diddy was upset, all right, about David James looking that stuff up. He said, the former assistant said he called it jarring because he had never looked through his computer history ever before. Okay. So James looked for the post, he said, because Cassie had been staying at the London hotel for a week and he was tasked with bringing her food. And I'm sure he was sitting there going, I wonder why, right? I wonder what's up. I'm dropping off food. I'm told to take care of Cassie, but every time I go to the door, one of Combs' personal staff members was answering the actual door. So she never went in to open the door to see David James face to face. So I'd be wondering the same doggone thing. It's like, wait, so why won't I see, is she okay? What happened? So I'm sure he looked these things up, right? He did a little Google search. It said, why, you know what I mean? Cassie, Diddy, and then saw on some gossip blog, I'm sure, which now it's not gossip, it's true. He was volatile to this woman, right? So he did a little bit of research just to see what was going on, so he understood what the hell is going on, right? And I think that's okay. Her personal assistant is answering the door, or sorry, Diddy's other personal staff members are answering the door, not Cassie. Is something up? Is she okay? Etc. I'd be concerned too if I was working for them and not seeing her face at all. That's weird. So I was surprised that I was expecting to see Cassie. She usually answered the door, but this time she was not. So she testified last week that Diddy put her up in a London hotel after allegedly attacking her in the back of a car while leaving an event. She told the court that she didn't feel as if she could leave and that Diddy's security staff, his security, was present, not allowing her to actually leave the space. She was locked up for good because he did a number on her, and he didn't want the public to see that. So let's continue. Standard overnight bag in Combs' world, $10,000 cash and the Viagra. So David James tells the jurors in the courtroom that Diddy didn't travel light and had a long laundry list of items that to be packed in his overnight bags. So the music mogul's Louis Vuitton, regularly carried $10,000 in cash. Man, that'd be nice. And sometimes much more. So his medicine bag, like I said, his little satchel filled with medicine, right, included 25 to 30 undisclosed pill bottles, along with Advil, Tylenol, Viagra, pills to increase sperm count. Yeah, he had pills to increase the goo and water pills. This is what James said. He later added that Percocet, Molly Percocet, okay? Percocet and X were in the medicine bag and that he witnessed Diddy taking them. The witness also said he was instructed to buy baby oil, Astroglide, and Jimmy hats for trips in cash so that Diddy could reimburse him personally and off the company books. This is very interesting and very important to understand. He was not dumb, okay? Diddy was not being dumb. Diddy was trying to cover his own ass, right? He definitely was. What was he doing? He was buying it, making the other people buy it for him, and then he would pay them in cash so that there's no trail of this, guys. There's no paper trail of this. And this is exactly what Diddy would do. No paper trail means he can't be in trouble for buying that type of thing, or those things can't come back and get him, right? I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't buy any of that stuff. Whoever bought that stuff is on them. Also, remember, people are crazy. What if David James took the company card to go to a spicy shop to buy not the baby oil, but I'm just saying like the Glide and the Jimmy hats. And he's using that that company card to buy that stuff. You don't think people would go and try to find that out? Or they swipe the card and it says Bad Boy Records and they're like, did he buying this? You see what I'm saying? Yeah, Melanie, the man is definitely thinking ahead. This is pre-calculation at its finest, okay? But the pills to make the more man goo is the wildest thing I've ever heard. But now it makes sense, especially after what Cassie said in her testimony, right? That's crazy. And I keep wondering, what kind of ritual is that? Literally, the nut juice on chesticles, on his nipples. Where? Like where? What kind of ritual is that? I'm just curious because that's weird. Okay. Yeah, he loves him some goo. Okay. John, thank you so much for the super sticker. I do appreciate it. Thank you so much for the love. Nutella spread. Oh, my dear God. Stop, y'all. Stop it. Stop it. I'm going to start busting out laughing again. Okay. But former assistant saw Cassie in a hotel bed and a stranger while Combs showered. So David James testified that he walked into a hotel room to deliver items for Diddy when he saw Cassie in a hotel bed with a man he did not know in the room. The former assistant said he was in Miami in 2008 when Diddy suggested James bring an iPad to the couple's hotel room. When no one answered, James testified that he used the key and let himself in. James said that he saw Cassie apparently sleeping with a comforter pulled up to her neck while Diddy was in the shower. He testified he saw a man with long hair walk across the room. That's so random. I never spoke to them about it. I just thought they were doing personal things. I never had conversations with Cassie or Diddy about their personal affairs. And that's probably the smart thing, right? He's just like, I have nothing to do with this. I'm over here, you over there. I saw a random man in his birthday suit with long hair. We just gonna let it be what it is. All right. They like spiciness. It is Hollywood. This is entertainment, everybody. This is Hollywood. Okay, it is what it is. We're just gonna keep it moving. I'm just gonna keep my head down. We're gonna keep it moving, right? Moving on. Combs brought in FBI lie detector specialists to question assistant. Oh, damn. Remember how everybody's saying like he's a Fed, or like he's working with the feds and all that? He's a snitch. Interesting, right? So he brought in a lie detector test and conducted it on James at least twice while James worked as his assistant. James told the court that in his first year working for Diddy, some money went missing. And Diddy had a former FBI agent who specialized in polygraphs to interview him. It was very intimidating, James said. I had never taken a lie detector test before in my life. He added that the second time he took a lie detector test was after a watch went missing. James also testified that Diddy's security searched his clothes and drawers when a Cartier bracelet went missing. So he's like, yo, somebody taking my stuff, and I think it's you. Sit down. You about to do this lie detector test right now. Have you seen this money? Have you seen this watch? Have you seen this Cartier bracelet? That's crazy, guys. James, okay, so Diddy kept a video of assistant dancing at New Year's Eve party. Uh-oh. So David James recalled how he once got high as hell on X at a New Year's Eve party. And Diddy allegedly kept a video of James dancing at the party. So he's having a great time. He's rolling his balls off. And Diddy goes, hey, take video of that. They take video of it to what? Hold that? As blackmail material. So, okay. He says, okay, I will keep it if I need it, James said, quoting his then boss. He thought it would be embarrassing for me. This minor detail could help prosecutors build their greater narrative that Diddy allegedly used his business to control people in his sphere. Now, I feel like right now, for sure, this is the one thing that we're starting to learn right now, is that prosecution is now starting to lock in to the whole racketeering RICO charge move, or those charges. That's what they're trying to do right now. They are literally trying to say, see the racketeering, see the RICO. You see how he made other people do things for him. He would try to disconnect himself financially to the buying of certain products and certain things that were used in these freak-offs. He would use these particular people to intimidate them or get embarrassing or incriminating footage of them doing certain things and say, hey, I have this just in case if I need it now, because I can hold this over your head. You also got to remember too, guys, let's not forget, let's take a little trip down memory lane real quick. Remember, this is a guy, Diddy, who had every single room in his home with a camera in it that was running 24/7. So for a fact, if somebody went into a bathroom to do a little yayo, somebody went into another room to bump uglies with somebody that they're not supposed to be bumping uglies with, or they're not supposed to be doing that at all because they're married or something of that sort. You see what I'm saying? He's got all this footage. He's got all this content that he could turn to personal assistants, staff, etc. That he could go to all of them and go, hey, remember that time you came over for Halloween? Man, that was a great time. You feel me? Outfit was amazing. Didn't think you were gonna rock that Dracula that well. But when you were messing with that little Bo Peep, yeah, man, I got footage of that now, bro. So just want to let you know, just in case you start to do anything weird, I got that footage. I know you got, I know you got wife and kids. You trying to run for this particular office. Little Bo Peep was definitely not your girl. Okay, she definitely not your wife. So just want to let you know, in case you need a copy of it, just let me know. You know what I mean? Just so you have control over it. But, I'm just letting you know I got it for you. I got it on lockdown. So if it ever does leak, just so you know, it didn't come from me. Somebody must have gotten it from somebody else. You feel me? But I just wanted you to know. Okay, bye. I mean, I'm just saying, it's crazy, right? Crazy. But now they're starting to put together, build block by block, racketeering and RICO. And remember, everyone, and I even said it last week too. Everybody's like, well, where are they going to talk about the RICO? They're just talking about DV. This is not what we're here to talk about. And I even said it myself. I'm making fun of myself as well. Okay? I'm making fun of myself as well. I said, why are we talking about all this DV stuff when we're not here to talk about that? We're here to talk about the RICO. Well, now we're finally starting to slide into it like we sliding on Astroglide. Okay, but we starting to slide in now into this conversation, and they're starting to build the argument right now. One thing is for sure. You got somebody who is a personal assistant. And a lot of times, let me be real, sometimes these personal assistants know you better than your own spouse. I'm being real. Some of these personal assistants know everything about you, even all the way down to your dirty ass drawers. Some of these people know about your bank accounts, know about what you're doing, what you're not doing, what medication you should be taking at a specific time. If you have some sort of ailment that maybe the public doesn't know about, if you have some other type of, transmitted type of thing that nobody needs to know about, but you're taking certain medication for those things as well, these personal assistants know everything about you. They are a second you, for crying out loud. So I could see Diddy doing something like this, especially when he's done or is doing dirty things all the time. I could see him holding things over this guy's head, trying to make this kid scared for his life, worried about things leaking and embarrassing him. Because you got to remember, it's not like he's going to be a personal assistant for the rest of his life. He's hoping, I'm sure, that this is an opportunity to not only have this on his resume, but also rub elbows with other big names so that he can maybe transfer on, move on, build his career off of working for somebody as tumultuous and as tough as Diddy. That says a lot about somebody who gets that personal assistant job and they're able to hold it for 2 years straight. That's a lot, y'all. I'm surprised a lot of these people don't get fired 6 months in. The fact that he got a job for that long is a big deal, okay? So again, of course, he's rolling balls. You don't think Diddy gonna try and catch him? And have that just in case? Remember, eventually he's gonna know something. Eventually his personal assistant is gonna know about how volatile and violent the guy is. So now he's like, I got this footage of you dancing around looking like an idiot. And I have this. And you look crazy. So you say anything about these freak-offs, anything about my relationship with Cassie or the other women in my life or men in my life, this video leaks. Just saying. It's no bueno for him. Yeah, exactly, Nicole B. You'll never work in this town again. No one will have you as an assistant. You don't take your assistant job very seriously because you're rolling balls. You're tripping balls right now in this video. No one's going to take you seriously. They're going to think you're some addict. That's it. Crazy, y'all. Diddy knows what he was doing, okay? Diddy knows what he's doing. But they are starting to build that racketeering and RICO charges right now as we speak. All right? So, Suge Knight, here we go. The Suge Knight incident prompted assistant to quit. So James said he was shook after seeing the desire by Diddy's team to grab pew-pews and confront Suge Knight at a Los Angeles diner in 2008. The witness recalled an incident when the team was out getting a late snack at Mel's drive-in. It's a diner, okay, when one of Combs' confidants, D-Rock, which I'm wondering if he's going to be testifying at any time, okay, but he spotted Suge Knight, and he said, that's mother effing Suge Knight. David James said that the team met up with that Diddy's team met up with with Diddy back at his house, and he armed himself with 3 pew-pews to go and possibly confront Knight. The incident, James testified, is what prompted him to quit. He said, I was really shook up by it. This was the first time, as an assistant, I realized my life was in danger. I told him I want to leave. I want to leave, but give 6 months, notice so I can train the next assistant. You want to know why he did that? Because he knew he was in a dangerous situation. Maybe in the very beginning, he thought, oh, I saw Diddy run a marathon on MTV, train for a marathon on MTV and run it. I saw him as a nice, charismatic, good person who has a heart, and he's there to motivate people. He's hip hop's Will Smith. I believe him, and I think I can fly now, right? But then he realized, oh my Lord, he's just as bad as, he's worse than Suge Knight. Nah, man, I'm not with this. I'm not with this life. I am not with this life. Nah, I'm not about to get lit up because I'm standing, because I happen to be standing right next to Diddy at the wrong place at the wrong time. I'm gone. But I'm going to do 6 months so you can find that personal assistant so that the transition's easy. Why? He didn't want to piss him off. That's it. He didn't want to piss him off. He's scared. So he said, you know what? I'm going to do you better because you also have that video hanging over my head. So I'm going to keep you happy. I'm giving you 6 more months and then I'm out. But I'm going to make sure that the transition is almost seamless. You'll forget I even existed. All right. 6-month transition. Just let me do that. And that's what he did, right? So Diddy's defense attorney, Mark Agnifilo, took over the cross-examination. He started asking James why he didn't provide more details on the Suge Knight incident. David James responded that the story stopped because he was instructed not to say anything that would incriminate himself. Yeah, I could see that part. I can see that to a certain extent. So defense asked about a prior statement in which James said he was inside the diner, but James said he didn't remember it. The mundane is anticipated in this courtroom. So in a trial filled with lurid and disturbing details of SA, the promise of mundane questions was welcomed in the courtroom. In his cross-examination of David James, the defense lawyer Mark Agnifilo told the witness that he had a few more mundane questions. Excuse me. David James answered saying, "I like mundane questions," drawing laughter from the gallery. James recalled how much he admired Diddy and his desire to actually work for him. So he says, "I wore Combs' clothing line, so he wore Sean John early on. I was studying abroad in London in 2004. People would come up to me and say where I'd get the Sean John from, and I understood his global reach, his brand. I wanted to work for him. He was a successful, self-made, brilliant marketer. Yeah, like I said, he's looking up to this guy being like, man, if I work for him, I can do anything, right? He's so inspirational. He's so dope at what he does. I want to be like Diddy." And then he got what he wished for. Worked for Diddy. Security worried Diddy would be hit by pew pew, David James says. So Diddy's security detail often included a second car when the rap mogul was traveling. This is what David James said. And his team was suspicious of anyone pulling up on him to pew-pew him. Yeah, I mean, I get that. I definitely can understand that. James testified that people often would try to touch Diddy or ask for his autograph, which his former boss would not sign. Okay, he said staff would sign items and send them out on Diddy's behalf. That's also insane. Hold on. So you got people forging his autograph and sending it out. Isn't that crazy? Acting like that was Diddy signing that autograph. I don't think gracious is a word I would use to describe James. I would use to describe him, James said. He said, gracious is not a word I would use to describe him, though. The security detail would also tell James, you know what rhymes with tired? Fired. Though James had said he admitted to Diddy he was tired once after running a red light, but James did not get fired for that. So apparently, if you say, "Oh man, I'm just so tired," and you say that out loud in front of Diddy, that could get you fired. Isn't that crazy? Don't tell me you're tired. If you tired, you get fired. So shut up, right? Witness testifies with protection, though no crime is apparent. So James disclosed he was testifying under an agreement with prosecutors, though there was no evidence so far that he would need legal protection. The defense has been pushing David James to disclose any details or any deals he might have made with prosecution to testify. particularly about the Mel's Diner incident, when Combs and his team allegedly armed themselves to look for rapper Suge Knight. David James said he had signed a proffer, a legal agreement that generally protects witnesses from prosecution for what they say on the witness stand. But so far, there's been no evidence of any crime that was committed against Knight by Combs' team on the early morning trip to Mel's Diner in Los Angeles that would indicate David James needs protection from prosecution. And I get it. I mean, I wouldn't want to say anything either. If it's going to put me into trouble, okay? If it's going to get me in trouble or incriminate me, I'd be quiet too. It's like I was just in the space. I was just in there. I just got in the car and they drove. They told me to be there, so I did. I didn't have anything to do with it, but I'd be worried about, like, just because I was in the same room or in the same area with all these guys with pew-pews. Yeah, I'd be nervous about that too. I'd definitely be nervous about that for sure. So defense pushes James on altercation with Combs' personal chef. This is interesting. This part is interesting. So David James testifies to an argument that turned physical between himself and Combs' chef. After which Diddy told James that you can't put your hands on a woman. So David James gets into an argument that turns physical with one of Diddy's chefs. So David James told the court he was in Miami in Combs' kitchen when the chef told him how to do his job. The former assistant admitted to grabbing her wrists and telling her to stay in her lane. Diddy heard about it and called me into his room. I told him what had happened, and he said, "You can't put your hands on a woman." It was one of two occasions when Diddy warned James that he could be fired. James testified. The other time was when James smoked the Mary Jane, he said. So him tripping balls on X is fine, but him smoking the trees is a problem? That's interesting. James said he did not follow Diddy's order to report chef to police. So Diddy didn't always get along with his former personal chef, Jordan Atkinson. This is what James said. After one physical confrontation between Jordan and Diddy in Alpine, New Jersey, Diddy asked James to report Atkinson to the police. He told me to make a police report that Chef Jordan hit him first. I did not file it because I did not want to make a false report. I went out and I came back and I told him I made the report. Now, Regina, Cassie's mom, does take the stand, but we're gonna come back to that in just a minute. Now, when it comes to, and of course, I want to read the what Inner City Press put out here too. What's interesting about this? Excuse me. What's interesting about this, right? And I think that is weird that Diddy wanted to file a false police report on his chef, asked James to go and file the police report, and then he never did because he said, I'm not gonna file a fake police report on something that never happened. So I am actually wondering what actually happened here. How did this, you know what I mean? I want to hear the chef's perspective, which of course Jordan apparently is going to be speaking out and testifying, if I'm correct, in this trial as well. So this is going to be very interesting because I can see her having a lot to say in regards to this, right? But again, I am kind of wondering about that. It does seem weird that he would sit there and go, I need you to file this police report. And then, of course, James doesn't because he knows that he alleges that Diddy was lying about this alleged attack that never really happened. So that's something that's very interesting. But if you were in not Diddy's shoes, but if you were in David James's shoes, what would you do? Would you file that police report or no? Okay. I'm kind of curious about that. What would you do? You know what I mean? What would you do if you were in that situation? Would you do that? That's weird. So let's take a look at this. Shout out to Inner City Press for their incredible coverage as well. And all the news articles we're reading here, which we're going to be going through here in just a second. So they're, of course, going into this. Okay, so I guess some jurors got stuck in traffic or they had some issues with the train. So they kind of started a little late because some jurors got late to the trial, which is interesting. Hence the reason why this is one of the other reasons why you make sure that your jury is sequestered, just so you know. Because then you know exactly what time everybody's going to show up. Okay? They're all on the same bus. They're all taking the same train. They're all taking the same transportation to get to the trial. But guess what happened? Some of the jurors got there late. Why? Because they're coming from all over the place. They're coming from everywhere. This is why you have the jurors sequestered, y'all. Not only just so that there isn't any jury tampering, but also they all show up. They all show up at the same time. Okay. This judge made that decision. I think that's weird. I think it's a recipe for disaster, but that's just me. But moving on, prosecution is asking, they're doing questioning on David James, okay? They're doing their direct. So what about physical violence between Diddy and Cassie? Did you personally observe it? He says, no, I did not. Do you remember a blog post? He says, yes, I was in LA when he came back from a club. What did Combs say? That someone was lying on him, saying he hit Cassie at the club. He went through my browser history. No one had ever done that to me. Did he give you instructions about Cassie? To bring her food at the London hotel. Some Roscoe's. What is Roscoe's? Some delicious fried chicken in Los Angeles. Meh. It's a meh for me, dog. Roscoe's. Chicken and waffle? Okay. All right. It's all right. It's all right. Moving on. But a lot of people like them some Roscoe's. Okay? A lot of people love them some Roscoe's. Let's move on. What did you do for Combs in New York? I'd bring him applesauce, Jell-O, Fiji water, his toiletry bag with ointments just for men, you know, the what he doesn't have right now. Okay, that's why his hair is gray. It's like stuff, you know, to dye your hair and beard. Okay. We bought 40 items so he wouldn't call us later. So that's interesting. They would buy him a bunch so that they wouldn't be bothered to go back out and get more stuff. I'd get a key like at the Trump International. I'd set up the medicine bag in the personal LV bag or the Louis V bag. What was in it? A Viagra, X, perks. How did you go about replenishing these supplies? I'd use my personal credit card. Bad boy paid me back. So in other words, I'm sure they would just put it in the bill, if that makes any sense, or like whatever they owed David. And then they would just go, okay, well, you get X amount every month or every week. So you went and bought $300 worth of stuff from me. So I'm going to reimburse you plus what I owe you for the week if he gets paid every week or every 2 weeks. You see what I'm saying, right? So that makes sense. But again, it would all be under the expense. You see what I'm saying? It'd all be an expense on his personnel, not, you're going and buying bottles of lube and baby oil and all this other stuff. You know what I mean? the receipts aren't going back to him. The receipts are only going to David James. So again, this is very interesting. Very interesting and very calculated. He was not dumb, okay? Remember, Diddy is a very, very smart man. I know a lot of people think that he's dumb or want to believe that he's dumb, but this is a very, very highly intelligent person. Calculated like a mug, y'all. So, moving on. Who paid you back? Usually Bonds, Roger Bonds. Did Diddy ever stay alone in a hotel? Never. Usually Cassie, sometimes other women. Did he ask you for things during a stay? He texted me for an iPad or food. Did anything strange ever happen? Yes, in Miami. I was asked for an iPad from his house on Star Island. I drove it to his hotel and knocked. No one answered. I had the key. I'd set up. I guess I'd set up the bedroom. Set up the room. I guess he says I'd walk into the room. What did you see? Cassie on the bed. There was another person sort of scurried away and the shower was on. I thought Diddy was in there. How was she sleeping? On her back. Defense says objection. Judge says sustained. What about the other person? He was 5'9", 5'8", with long hair and a large endowment. Oh my dear God. Really? Really? He scurried away. Why would you add this? Why? Okay. All right then. So, yeah. Moving on. Scurried away. Did you ask anything? I wasn't hired to ask about their personal affairs. Sounds like a personal assistant. Did you ever pick up, substances for Diddy? Yes. Perks at a pharmacy, sometimes in my name. Oh my God. Sometimes in his name. And there's other stuff that I'm gonna have to talk to you guys about in another show. Yesterday my area had no internet or anything of that sort, but there's been a lot of stuff that came out. Workers' faces have been revealed to the public. Then also the photos of Diddy's room before, like right after he got arrested, for all of this stuff. Is insane, the things that were found. But the fact that some of these pill bottles actually had his aliases names on it is really insane to me. Okay. Then the other thing too is that he had other people that were actually, prescribing him these medications. That's a big freaking deal. Where are those guys and why aren't they catching any charges? Real talk. What about all those doctors and all those people who are prescribing him medication under Frank White or aliases like Frank Black, etc.? That's crazy. And the fact that he has these medications being prescribed under his name, under David James's name, is insane as well, right? So let's move on. Did you give him a permission to use your name? He says, I don't recall that. Where was there a dealer? Yes. His name was One Stop. That's crazy. This is the one stop. This is the only stop you need. I got everything, right? I got the powder. I got the pills. I got that green. I get it all, right? He met with a lot of people. Yes. Even former presidents. What? What? Don't you tell. What? Stop it. Stop it. Which one? Former Obama, former President Obama. What? Oh my, what? What? I got that out of my system. Not Obama. Okay. Barry. Not Barry. Just not Barry, man. Why Barry, man? Wow. I'm wondering what kind of stuff. Now I want to know. What is One Stop hooking up with President Barack Obama for? Oh my God, stop it. Let me be clear. Do you have any of that white girl? I'm just saying. Oh my God. Okay, I'm done. That I didn't know that was coming out. That's what he said. But that threw me off. I didn't expect that. Obama? He's a lot of our forever president, though. No, but okay, we're done. So I'm gonna go back. Sorry for the dramatics. Okay, there would be no show if there was no dramatics. All right, I apologize. That threw me off. I swear to God, I didn't see that. I didn't expect that. And what's interesting is I have yet to see anybody talk about it in the news. This person's under oath, by the way, saying this. Wow. What was he getting, though? You know what I mean? Mr. One Time. You know what I mean? Me and Michelle. I just couldn't. Barry? Okay, let's go back to the top. That throws me off, but okay. So he met with a lot of people talking about One Time. David James says yes, even former presidents. Prosecution says which one? The feds are even throwing out Barack Obama's name in this mother lover. Which one? David James says former President Barack Obama. What was your understanding? What would happen, okay, if you hadn't done these things? Defense says objection sustained. Did you ever take EX? James says yes. I was drinking Ciroc. I took a little X. And I was Diddy bopping. Oh, dear God. What do you mean? I was vibing. Did you speak with Diddy about it? He was reviewing footage of the party. We had a videographer who filmed the parties. He asked me, hey, Playboy, what was that you dancing around at the party? I said, yes. And he said, I want to keep that video in case I ever need it. Meaning, he says, that I'd be embarrassed. Did anything ever go missing? They said a bracelet was missing. Uncle Paulie came to my hotel room and searched my belongings. And those of my girlfriends at the time, or those of my girlfriend at the time. So they searched his stuff and the girlfriend's stuff that he was dating there too. So could you have said no? Agnifilo said objection. Judge says move on. So prosecution says, did you ever take a lie detector test? He says yes. Who was present? Just me and this gentleman. It was very intimidating. They put monitors on my head, my chest, and my hand. Could you refuse? Not to keep my job. Did this happen again? Yes. Diddy said a watch of his had been stolen. What was the result? The gentleman told me I seemed nervous. And I said, sure I am. Once Capricorn Clark had to take a lie detector test to prove she wasn't part of a heist of Diddy's jewelry. Was there an incident at Mel's Diner with Suge Knight? Yes, I drove the Silver Navigator to get cheeseburgers there. D-Rock said, that's mother effing Suge Knight. He went over and said, what's up? Suge Knight didn't recognize him. Diddy said, I'm Biggie's boy. What happened next? We noticed 4 black SUVs, 2 different sides of the parking lot. I saw someone hand Suge Knight a gun. D-Rock said, we got to get out of here. We drove back to the house. What did you find there? Cassie was crying. Diddy got into the vehicle. I saw 3 weapons in his lap. I felt calm because we'd been in a silver vehicle, now a black one. I felt calm. I felt calm because we had been in a silver vehicle, now in a black one. They wouldn't see us coming. Okay, that makes sense. What did you find at Mel's Diner? Suge Knight had left. Diddy said, drive around the block. What did you decide? To leave the company. They offered me other positions, but I just wanted to leave. My life was at risk. No further questions. Now, Agnifilo takes over. Yana! Moving on. You didn't tell all this the first time. They told me to stop, to not say anything that would incriminate me. Look at the notes from your interview. Read it to yourself, then look up at me. Okay. How did you recognize Suge Knight? I listened to hip hop. Were you drinking or smoking the Mary Jane? No, sir. Your mind was clear as it could be, working 20 hours a week at 4 a.m. D-Rock opens the door. Suge Knight is a few cars over with the window open. D-Rock says, I'm Biggie's boy. Then Suge Knight recognizes him, gives him a dab. What's a dab? It's a handshake. It's a sort of handshake. Did you leave D-Rock at the diner? Why are you smiling? Because that's a crazy question. Why would I? Didn't you leave D-Rock at the diner? That makes no sense. I'm not asking what makes sense. I'm asking, did you? No. You say you saw Cassie and Diddy, right? Yeah. Diddy told me to drive. You didn't know where Diddy got the pew-pews, though, do you? I don't know. I didn't know we had weapons until then. Have you ever been in a situation like that? No. You didn't say. You didn't say. I don't want to. You didn't say I don't want to drive to Suge Knight with pew-pews. No. What exactly did you do before you got this job? I was a door-to-door salesman, then personal assistant. Now, you were going with the weapons to confront someone. It was not ideal. You knew how to get to Mel's Diner, right? I frequent there all the time. You never seen the weapons before, right? No. This is a radical departure from your job description. Is that an understatement? It's the understatement of the day so far. Do you have immunity? Ask my lawyer. I have some kind of offer agreement. Proffer. He corrects him. No. Proffer agreement, not offer. You didn't tell anyone about this. Only my wife. Did you meet the government this morning? Yes, briefly. About what might come up in Cross. Did the Mel's Diner incident come up? Not that I can recall. It's this morning. What did you talk about? Your style. Some laughter. I'm dying to ask what they said, but I won't. Moving on. I have a few more mundane questions. He says, I love mundane questions. Where did you travel with Mr. Combs? Ibiza, London, Saint-Tropez? Were these vacations? Business oriented. What were you hired as? Personal liaison. But I was a personal assistant. He met a high-level roster of people. Second understatement of the day. Why? He met with a who's who. It was important that he be prepared for these meetings, right? Yeah. It was important that he be on time. No, we changed meetings to fit his schedule all the time when he didn't want to show up at a certain time. He had security because people wanted to touch him, right? Yes. In the airport, in McDonald's. Was he gracious? I don't think gracious is the word I'd use for Sean Combs. Did he sign autographs? No. You say he'd stay in the studio until 3 or 4 a.m. and you'd stay with him? Yes. It was common. What sort of things would he want to always, what sort of things would he want to always have with him? Ketchup, for example. That's interesting. Did you know he put applesauce on cheeseburgers? No, but I knew he liked applesauce. That's weird, though, guys. That's a little bit diabolical. He liked applesauce on cheeseburgers. That's just nasty. But moving on. He liked Astroglide, Jimmy hats, and baby oil. But you didn't expense it through the business. Usually not. I was told he didn't want to run them through the company. He didn't want a record of them. So when you bought the 8-ball of Yayo in Saint-Tropez, you didn't tell Diddy, did you? He was asleep. Tell me about your relationship with Roger Bonds. He talked about Bad Boy as a family. What do you mean? Mama Combs called me her son many times. What was the mission? Make sure he's happy. Was it fun? I enjoyed it from time to time. What was your relationship with Chef Jordan? Professional. Did you choke her? No. Objection. Sidebar. Back again. Tell me what happened. We were on Star Island. She told me where to take him. I grabbed her by the wrist and said, "Stay in your effing lane." Was there a fallout? It was reported to corporate HQ. Diddy called me in. Diddy told me, "You can't be putting your hands on a woman." He told me to give her a gift. Sounds familiar, right? I'm sure he's done that multitudes of times for his women. What did you give her? I rolled up a blunt and I gave it to her. Did she like it? It appeared that she did. You were in a car with Diddy and who? Chris Lighty. You have taken X. You have taken X before. I'd party, sure. What were things like in the studio as far as substances? Yes. But what were things like in the studio? Substances? Yes, it's a creative environment. I didn't smoke when working with Diddy, but he caught you smoking once, right? I thought he was going in for the night. I lit up. He came out. He said, "What are you doing?" I said, "Nothing." He said, if you're man enough to smoke, you're man enough to tell me." I said, "Okay, I'm smoking." He said, if I did it again, he'd fire me. Defense says, how about when you picked up 2 pros and had relations with one? Whoa! Prosecution says, objection. Judge says overruled. She asked for $200, right? She asked for $200. I called Bonds and asked him, what the hell? She asked to take a shower. I said, that's $200. Then everyone starts laughing. On that note, no further questions. Redirect. So back to prosecution. What about the incident in Alpine, New Jersey? To file a police report and say that Chef Jordan had been the aggressor, but I didn't do it. I didn't file it. I drove around and I told him that I made the report. What have we asked you to do? to tell the truth, nothing further. Recross, you lied to Diddy about filing the police report. Yes, nothing further. Can we take a break? And then, of course, they went to a break. And, of course, we go back into where Regina Ventura takes over. Okay. So, again, it's interesting that the defense is like, oh, look, you got with a pro. So what are you talking about? Okay. You were with a pro. So what do you mean? You know, so that's something that's very interesting, right? It's a very interesting situation. Let's take a look. Let's continue on though. So Cassie's mom, she has taken the stand, okay? She's been sworn in. She says, this is crazy. This right here is shocking as hell. All right. And Diddy is a diabolical mother lover. So, and why would he do that to this family? Look at this. So Cassie's mom says Diddy wanted $20,000 for Cassie's S tape. And you know what's even more insane is that, man, this is so sad. This family had to get a loan out from the bank so that they could actually pay Diddy $20,000 so that he would not allegedly leak the footage. I don't think you understand how jacked up and messed up that is. Like, that's a huge bombshell in this trial so far. We've heard about everything else for the most part. We haven't heard a lot from these allegations from David James or anything of that sort. But what's even more insane is what he was doing to the family. He was trying to control them so much, and he was trying to terrorize them so much that given the fact that this guy has more money than any of these families could ever dream of. And he turns to this family and says, I want $20,000 from you, or your daughter's career and her whole livelihood, your family's name is going to get dragged through the dirt. And they went out of their way to get a loan just so that they can pay this piece of trash off. It's disgusting, y'all. And I heard this and I hurt. I actually hurt in my heart for this family. Imagine being a father of Cassie, father of this daughter, right? And she just happens to be in love or get into a volatile relationship with the worst piece of trash on earth, and that person happens to be extremely wealthy and extremely powerful. And for them to sit there and say, no, you're gonna give me $20,000. I'm gonna make sure you guys go into debt. And if you don't give me this money, this issue is gonna leak. That's insane, guys. Absolutely disgusting. Absolutely. So let's get into this. So apparently this happened in December of 2011. And okay, again, Regina Ventura, Cassie Ventura's mother, is testifying right now. And if I'm correct, let me go back down here. I think, I don't know if this, I don't know if she's with her husband or not, but they, of course, I'm sure she's there with her as well. Yeah, it's kind of like another pig vomit. But this is just disgusting, man. So let's get into this. So they say, I gotta get that fixed somehow. All right. So they say in December 2011, okay, she says, Regina Ventura, Cassie's mother, says that Diddy threatened to release explicit videos of Cassie after he learned she was dating Kid Cudi. So only because he found out that she was bumping uglies with Day and Night, the Lonely Stoner, and night. That guy, okay, he gets all up in his fifis, calls up the mama, and basically says, I'm going to release this video. I'm going to release videos of your daughter. So she says, I was physically sick. I don't understand it. The S through me. He was trying to hurt my daughter. She also testified. Hopefully you guys can still, okay. Man, this better stay strong. This internet better stay strong. I was sick to understand it. This S-tape through me. He was trying to hurt my daughter. She also testified that Diddy wanted $20,000 for the video. But he said videos. So again, that's very interesting. Regina said Diddy was, quote unquote, angry that he had spent money on Cassie and that she was with another person. So we took a home equity loan out, and that was the only way we could get that money, she said. So the thing is what's wild, okay? And try to hit the refresh button, guys. I'm sorry, guys. Like the internet just kind of fritzed out for a second. Just hit the refresh button. I'm still here, okay? Oh, and if it's fixed, it's fixed. Okay, cool. Oh, whoops, not that. But Scorpio, thank you so much for saying, wow. But I appreciate it, okay? Okay, the stream is back to normal. Cool. All right, good. Thank you, guys. Yay, yay. But what's even more disturbing about this whole situation, okay? What's even, well, you also, guys, remember, we all got hit with the tornado. So this is the first day that internet has been up and running for even more than 30 seconds. So just so you guys know. So again, there's going to be, there might be a little bit of glitchiness going on throughout the show. Just ride with it. If it gets a little choppy or glitchy, just refresh and I'll be right here. Okay. But let's move on. They even took out a home equity loan just to pay him off, guys. Just to pay him off. And this is coming from her own mama. You think the mama would sit here and just lie through her teeth like this? That makes no sense, right? Why? Just disgusting. But again, rico, suave. So Regina said she took photos of the bruises that Cassie endured. So in late 2011, okay, to make record of these alleged attacks at the hands of Diddy. So she was bruised, and I wanted to make sure we memorialized it. Regina once called the police on Diddy after Cassie told her mother that he had taken her phone. So Regina testifies that she had a quote-unquote bitter argument outside of her daughter's apartment building as she tried to get Cassie's phone back. Cassie was inside her apartment at the time, she said. I was trying to hit him, but I wasn't successful. She tried to put her paws on Diddy, and I don't blame her. You know what? You put up them dukes, girl. You know what I'm saying? You give that man that 2-piece, that 3-piece, that 4-piece with that side of biscuits, okay? Shoot. I was trying to hit him, but I was not successful. Eventually, Regina said that Diddy gave the phone back and took Cassie's car as he left. He just said, you can take her phone. I'm taking a ride, though. And then he just drove off with the ride. See, after something like that, if this is the first time as a mother or a parent that you are finally catching wind of something like this, and this is how they treat the kid, like treat your kid, I'm sorry, I'm going, you're gonna move out of this place right now. We're gonna find you another place. And you know what? Get rid of this phone. You're never speaking to, you're never using this line ever again. We're going to get you a new phone number. Hold on to the contacts that you give a damn about, and you're going to delete everything else. You're coming with me. You're staying with us until you find something better. And anybody steps foot on our property, they're going to leave with holes in their body. I'm sorry. That's just what I'm going to say. And I'm not blaming the mom, and I'm not blaming the parents. And I understand that she's going to do whatever she needs to do. Cassie is a grown woman. She's going to make her own choices. But at the same time, as soon as I saw something like that, okay? As soon as I see something like that, I'm like, kid, you're packing up your stuff. There is no questions, no conversation. Your life is in danger. You're packing up your stuff as much as we can pack up right now. We're going to stuff my car with the stuff, and you're leaving, period. Sorry. Leave the phone behind. Leave it behind. Leave everything else that's his, leave it behind. And you're coming with me. We out. And if those videos come out, so be it. We just paid the $20,000 or whatever the heck it is. We'll just have to deal with it as a family. This man should not have any power over you. Period. This is disgusting. This is disgusting. And I'd be like, yo, he gonna put threats on us? I'll put a threat on him. You step 1 foot on my property, you're gonna see what happens. And that's a promise, dog. That's all I'm saying. That's just me, though. That's just me. Because this kind of stuff, this type of stuff angers me. But this is now something massive. She is now coming forward and saying, hey, he extorted, he blackmailed us. And we paid $20,000 for that stuff to go away. And even after the fact, he still was a monster to our daughter. He still put his hands on her. He still did all this stuff. Hell no. I'd be like, it's enough. We already put out a loan. We're still paying it off right now. F that. We're done. We're done. We're done. Pack up your stuff. Pack up your stuff. Pack up your stuff. Let's go. All the people on your phone that you got on that phone, they're not even worth it. They ain't friends. They ain't even good people. Leave that phone behind. Get your stuff. Come in with, pack up what you came into this place with. All the stuff that he bought you, leave that ish behind. Let's go. You know what I mean? Let's get out now. Right now. After that, whoo! It burns my cookies. Okay? Oh, man. Let's move on, though. Defense declines to cross-examine Regina, which is insane. Another huge thing. Barack Obama? Barry? It's insane to me that they say, we don't have any questions for you, Regina. We ain't got no questions for you, Regina. We good. You can leave. Why? Why did the defense not say anything to her? Because if he was to say anything or to even try, they would have fallen flat on their faces. Here it is, guys. Okay? And then she's done. So we're going to read the transcript here in a second. Or, you know, the live tweets, Inner City Press, you know, shout out to Inner City. But here's the thing, okay? Imagine if they were to go and try to question her anything. Yeah, well, you know, when he said that, did he really mean it? You know what I mean? When he said he was going to expose the S tape of her in it, did he really mean it? Like, what are they going to do? Regina's going to be like, yeah. Me and my husband took a whole loan out to pay the $20,000. So yeah, I think he really did mean it. You know, what else can they say? What else can they say? Blackmail, extortion, tapes, using them against her and terrorizing now the family as well. This was a huge win. This testimony right here was a massive win for prosecution. I mean, it's a dead giveaway. I'm going to kill that. Dead giveaway. When you got the defense who is sitting there going, Yana, objection, Yana. You know what I mean? But when he said he was talking about, when he said he was going to pay things, he was really talking about the vase, right? That was what he was talking about. He was talking about the vase, right? That BS, moving the goalpost. She comes up, she says what she says, and what happened? They go, yeah, we ain't got nothing for her. Yeah. Remember when it came with Dawn Richard? Dawn Richard's testimony, oh my word, was so bad. Dawn looked bad. I'm sorry. I call it like I see it. Or I call it like I read it as well. That was bad. Super bad. Okay? This right here is pretty solid. Now, even with David James, his was pretty solid too. Defense came back and they're like, well, you had relations with an S worker too, did you not? Like, that doesn't matter at this point. They're just trying to do tit for tat. You see what I'm saying? This is bad. That's bad for Diddy. That's a bad one for Diddy. That's a bad one for Diddy. Okay, so trying to get the temperature turned up in here. I'm told it's complicated. Okay, people are freezing. The judge was saying this to the jurors. Okay, so the government calls Regina. So where do you live? New London, Connecticut. How many children do you have? 2, Roderick and Cassandra. Who is this? Okay, of course, Diddy. He dated my daughter. When did you meet Diddy? In 2006. My daughter signed with his Bad Boy Records. He was her boss. Then they started dating. They moved to LA. Read this message from 2011. This is from prosecution, by the way. All right. This is the direct. Cassandra wrote to me. She said Diddy threatened to release S tapes and go after her and Kid Cudi day and night. How did you react? It made me sick. Diddy demanded $20,000 and he said to recoup losses due to Kid Cudi from my husband and myself. So I guess he was paying for some studio time with them or something like that. All right. But apparently they started talking, Kid Cudi and Cassie. All right. And now he's like, I want my money back. I put into $20,000 of studio time and all that stuff and investment, and I ain't seen none of that money back. You need to pay it back. Or these S tapes, plural, come out. Why did you take a loan to pay Diddy? For the safety of my daughter. Look in the binder next to you. These are photos I took. Oh, so she's looking in the binder. So she says, these are photos I took of my daughter's bruises from Diddy. Do you know Mia? Mia is the another Jane Doe. Okay, just so you know, it's another name, another pseudonym for one of the Jane Does that's going to be testifying later on in this trial for sure. Okay, so Regina says she was an employee of Diddy. What happened? We were in the kitchen laughing. Diddy asked her why she was laughing. She stopped and looked plain. That's weird. So I guess there was one moment where they were just having a good time. Regina and this Mia person were having a good time. And they're all like, laughing and everything, And Diddy says, why you laughing? And she just stopped. Like, Regina, raspberries, right? Why you laughing? Real talk. That's crazy. That's scary. Now to August 2016. We're done with the binder. While you were in LA, did you call the police? Yes. Diddy stole Cassie's phone. They had a bitter argument outside of her apartment building. She lived on the 17th floor. They argued at the roundabout. Who else was there? D-Rock again. D-Rock better be brought in, bruh. Is Damian Butler his government name? He was, I guess Damian Butler is his government name. He was standing between us. I tried to hit him. Diddy took Cassie's car, a Jaguar. No further questions. Now the cross. They say no questions. So they bring in the next witness. And guess who that next witness is? The Punisher. Yeah, buddy. So what are your thoughts so far? How's defense doing right now? I don't think defense is doing very well right now. I'm gonna keep it a bean. I don't think defense is doing very well today. Today is not the day for the defense. Yesterday it's sprinkled with a few wins for the defense, real talk, but today not so much. And the only reason why the defense had a peppering of success yesterday was solely because of Dawn Richard. Dawn Richard's what she said, the information that was put out here, her stuff so far, not very, it was very questionable, okay? Very choppy, okay? Very choppy. So, we got more. Do me a favor, though, guys. I see you guys in here. I appreciate all y'all. Where we at as far as where we at? Oh, come on, man. Let's get it. Let's hit that like button down below, please. Okay, I see a gang y'all in here. Tomorrow we're going to start several hours earlier. I'm just letting you guys know. All right, so that we see everything and watch all of it and go through all of this together in real time so that you can see my big reactions. Barack Obama. But anyway, hit that like button down below. Crush it, please. Can we get it past? Can we get 1.5? We got to 1K. That's fantastic. Yes. But can we get to 1.5? Let us get to 1.5K. If you can, that'd be greatly, greatly appreciated. All right. Hit that subscribe button. Subscribe. I'm going to be doing a lot of catch up over the next couple days because there's a lot of things I wasn't able to talk about because my internet was completely down. And you know what sucks is, this is what we do. This is what I do. And not having internet is like getting an arm cut off. It's terrible. It is a terrible experience. But I will say this, though. I am very, very lucky and very blessed to have electricity and a roof still over my head. There's a lot of people that still need help out here in this area and in other areas as well. There's a lot. So I'm just thankful that we are still okay. Even so, late last night, we got hit with more crazy storms. And now there's even more people without power right now. And there were other tornadoes that touched. I don't know if they touched down, but there was a lot of strong winds and all that happened last night as well. So it was, like I said, it's just has not been letting off or letting up. It's been crazy. So I'm just thankful to be here in my purple ash room, telling you guys this stuff on this microphone with the internet back on. Okay. So okay. And somebody's watching from Osaka, Japan. What's up? Hello. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. Okay. But real quick, before we go into this, let me get some of these super chats here really quick. And here's the other thing too. Big screens. Like I could see the screens again. You know what I mean? I could see the print on the screens. So it's and then of course, solid internet, right? It just feels good to be back. It just feels good to be home. Okay. It just feels really, really good to be back on this stuff. So Miss Rue, thank you so much for the love. I really do appreciate it. Watching in Georgia between home health visits. Thank you for these updates. Of course. Thank you so much for the support. It really means a lot. Thank you so much. Monica, thank you so much for the super sticker. Thank you. It really means a lot. Mama Flip, thank you so much. I've been in court for 2 weeks. They talked about it, but peeps weren't listening. Mama Flip, you've been in court for 2 weeks. They talked about it, but peeps talked about it, but peeps weren't listening. I'm wondering what you're talking about right there. I'm sorry. I am kind of curious as to what you mean by that. But thank you so much for that super chat. Thank you again, Black Anonymous. What's up, Black Anonymous? What's up, Black? Thank you so much. IV, thank you so much. This trial is so unserious, made for SNL and TMZ. Yeah, this is going like I said. There's so much ridiculousness that's been coming out, and it's only going to get crazier. Okay, it's only going to get crazier. It's only going to get crazier. This is the second week. We're still at the very beginning of the second week of a 8-week trial. We're nowhere near done yet. It's about to get crazier, okay? But let's get into this. Another S worker by the stage name, The Punisher, has taken the stand as well. So, his name is Sheree Hayes. He's 51 years old. He works as an exotic dancer who goes by the name The Punisher. Now I want to know what this guy looks like. Does he look like the cartoon, like the comic book character, The Punisher? Frank Castle? I'm very interested. Anyway, moving on. This particular person chronicles his first encounter with Cassie. Hold on one second. Lisa, thank you so much for the love, celebrating my law school graduation with my favorite guy in chat, peeps. What's up? Congratulations. Whoops. Congratulations. Congratulations. Hell yeah. We need more lawyers. Well, I don't know if some people would be like, we don't need more lawyers. No. But that's great. Congratulations on graduating law school. Now you can start a YouTube channel and say that you're a law expert. I mean, now you can make millions, you know? But Lisa, congratulations to you, girl. Congratulations. We need more smart people out here in these streets. Okay? Use that power for good. And then make a whole lots of monies. Okay? But do it for the good. And then make the money. Okay? That's hard to do both at the same time, but try. Just be that one that tries. Okay? But let's continue on. Oh, going into constitutional law. Wow, that's dope, girl. Hell yeah. Let's go. Let's go. I like when people use their brains. So that's great. Keep kicking ass. Congratulations. All right. And of course, put some purple heart emojis in the chat for Lisa and her graduation from law school. Do you know how hard it is to graduate from law school? That is just hard. Okay? That stuff ain't easy. So congratulations. But let's get back into The Punisher, shall we? Let's get into this. So, a male performer nicknamed The Punisher said he was paid $800 to create a spicy scene for Diddy and Cassie while keeping eyes off of Diddy. So he said, "Don't look at me." So The Punisher said he was called to a Trump Tower hotel suite in the fall of 2012 and was greeted at the door by Cassie wearing a bathrobe and nothing underneath. And she had on a wig. We've heard this before, her wearing a wig and like maybe a mask of some sort. But here we go. He was handed a quote unquote sack of money with $800 inside, as Cassie told him to quote unquote create a spicy scene of me and her applying baby oil on each other and create a spicy environment that her husband would come up on. She did not acknowledge her husband. She said, do not acknowledge her husband. Try not to look at him, and no communication. So in other words, he was just like, yeah, I'm just a fly in the wall as I tenderize my meat. But make sure that body be glistening with that baby oil. Yeah. And then they took the lunch break. After all that, they're like, okay, she comes into the room. She takes off her bathrobe. We start to apply baby oil all over each other's body, making it real spicy like. And he's in the background just tenderizing his meat. Time for a lunch break. Oh, like I feel everybody's like, oh, what happens next? They're reading the best part of the book. They're like, wait a second, wait. What? There's no, it's blank. So the baby oil glistening, yeah, and then tenderizing meat, and then what happens next? Well, you're gonna have to wait. This break was brought to you by McDonald's. Have it your way. No, that's not. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Have it your way is Burger King. Never mind. But you get what I'm saying. Oh, this is the guy. His name, I thought he was white. I thought the man be Caucasian. I thought he was Caucasian. I swear. Well, you hear Punisher, you think, you know what I'm saying? I thought he was Frank Castle up in this mug. Okay? I thought he was going to be Caucasian. Or at least light-skinned it. No. I didn't see a sketch. I didn't see the sketch yet. Oh, diggity damn. Okay. Well, it's not Frank Castle. That's not Frank Castle from the comic books. That's for sure. Okay. But let's go. There it is. There it is. What we all been waiting for. I'm sorry, when you say the Punisher, all this time I thought he was white. I literally thought he was Caucasian. And it's okay if he was Caucasian. It's not a bad thing. That's not, some of the S workers that have been exposed, some of them are actually white. White, black, Latino, all of them. Okay? Okay, let's go on. They go into a break. Parents of Cassie are walking out of the courthouse. Okay. So, Punisher says he was hired up to 12 times. The first encounter with Cassie and Diddy led to a healthy tip. I gotta do it. And more gigs, Hayes says, or the Punisher says. So she said, thank you, and was handed more money, which he counted in the elevator and realized that it was $1,200. So this is what he said after the first encounter that he had at the Trump Tower with Cassie, adding that he now knows that one of his clients was Diddy at that time. In total, the Punisher estimated he performed for the couple from 8 to 12 times. He said he was called to the first rendezvous by a woman who called herself Janet. But it didn't take long for him to realize who his clients were. One of the biggest names in the music industry and his well-known girlfriend. I mean, it is kind of impossible. You know what I mean? It's like, imagine you getting called in by like a massive name, right? A huge star. It's going to be hard for you not to notice that is the person. You know? You know what I'm saying? It would be impossible. Further along the line, I saw his face. He would wear a baseball cap, and I noticed his face. Ironically, I'm a fan, and I follow him on Instagram. This is what he said. This is what the Punisher said of Diddy. He got the nickname The Punisher as a teenager because of his prowess on the basketball court. Moving on. Police called over Diddy's chief, Diddy's chef, being fired in 2008. So that's interesting. Hold on. That's weird. We're going to talk about this, but that's such a weird left turn, because at first it's like, okay, we're talking about the Punisher, and then all of a sudden, boop, we just talk about the chef. So the police called over Diddy firing the chef in 2008 records show. So David James, again, see what I'm saying? It just seems weird that this just pops out of nowhere. But let's go into this. David James, his former personal assistant, testified earlier today that the mogul once asked him to file a police report alleging this his personal chef attacked him. James told the court he didn't do it because he didn't want to make a false report. The incident occurred in Alpine, New Jersey, according to James, but a date was not given. 911 calls to Diddy's former Alpine residence, obtained by NBC News, shows that police were called March 22nd, 2008, over an issue with Diddy's personal chef. It's unclear if this was the same incident James is referring to when he didn't file the police report. A man named David James told police the chef was fired and left upset, but stated that there were no threats made by her, according to the report. It must be the same one. Police advised Diddy and James that this was a civil matter. Diddy was satisfied and just wanted to make this matter of record due to his celebrity status, the report said. Interesting. Okay, now we go back. Okay, Cassie appeared to be a willing player in these spicy scenes, the Punisher said. So, in a dozen or so types of, spicy performances, Hayes never had the sense Cassie was uncomfortable with it at all, he testifies. So this S worker agreed with the defense attorney, okay, that's leading questions, that Cassie wasn't in any discomfort while performing in front of Diddy. He said it seemed like it was consensual, agreeing with the defense's description of Diddy as the director of these scenes. That's a big, big moment. Now, I'm sure that the prosecution's like, oh, damn, you're not supposed to say that, right? Prosecutors go back and they push back about her emotions during these S scenes. So in a brief redirect, the Punisher was asked more about Cassie's time during their S scenes with Combs. Prosecutor Foster asked about the one time Cassie appeared to enjoy herself, but also asked Haynes about the other times where she would apparently wince or sigh. Foster asked the prosecution, whether Cassie's focus was on Diddy. Hayes said that there was a consistent awareness to Diddy and his perception and his desires of the moment. Then he left the witness stand. Let's go over here. Now, where are you from? He says, I'm from Harlem, New York. What was your work? Male dancer. I was known as the Punisher. Do you recognize these two? Of course, these two in these photos. I do, Mr. Combs and Cassie Ventura. I was hired in 2012 to create a spicy scene for them. Why are you called the Punisher? Playing basketball on West 4th Street. The woman who called you, what time did she book you for? Midnight at Trump Tower, Central Park West. A little tease for a small group of friends. When you got there, how did Cassie appear? In a bathrobe, I guess, with nothing underneath and a wig. I was suspecting a crowd, but there was no one else. She told me she and her husband wanted to create a spicy scene with baby oil. What did she hand you? $800. How was the room? Dimly lit, electric candles, bowls of water with bottles of baby oil in them. She told me not to acknowledge her husband, not to look at him when he came out. Did he come out? Yes. He was in his birthday suit, but I could not see his face. It was like it was like what a Muslim woman wears. You can only see the eyes. He had a bottle of Astroglide. How did you recognize it? I use it. The purple top. How did it end? She went into the other room with him. When she came back, she asked if I wanted to finish. I said no. I said no if they were happy. I said no if they were happy, I was happy. She gave me more money. Did you do it again? Yes, 8 or 12 times. How did you end up recognizing her? I was a fan of Diddy and followed him on Instagram. I saw her on it. This will be a good place for a break. To go on a break. How are these sessions scheduled? I'd be reached out at about 5 or 7 p.m. for later. They'd ask for a spicy scene, but I knew it would be more. How would it start? Baby oil, an erotic atmosphere, and Diddy would direct. How did the direction work? Diddy might say, sit forward, move the camera, or what would happen actually, One time during this stuff, he dropped a sack of money. He said, I like this ish. What? How much baby oil did you use? A lot. We were supposed to be glistening as much as possible. How long would they last? 4 hours. A lot of waiting. Maybe 40 minutes or so. I was supposed to finish in a specific spot. Interesting. Then what? She would leave with Diddy. 10 or 15 minutes. She'd return in a bathrobe, pay me $2,000 or $1,200 cash. Did you think Cassie was enjoying herself? Defense says objection. Sustained. Did you use substances? I'm not a Mary Jane smoker, but I did pull a Bill Clinton. I was handed a joint. You know what a Bill Clinton is, right? It's I didn't inhale, right? I've smoked Mary Jane, but I never inhaled, right? So he cheeked it, as some people would say, or at least they would say that back in the day, right? So he was handed the joint. He Bill Clinton did, okay? He didn't inhale. All right, moving on. Do you have performance issues? Having the woman's partner there, yes. Did the issue affect your pay? Objection, overruled. I wasn't sure how they calculated it. One time, Diddy threw Jimmy hats on the couch next to us. I struggled. It was a failure. What happened? They went out. I finished. She came back and thanked me for privacy. Wait, hold on. She came back and thanked me for privacy. Yep, that's what he just said. Interesting. What did you think would happen next? I was worried I would not be used again. I hadn't done my job. He has said, I want to see you F her, and I couldn't. Are you writing a book? Yes. Self-help about my ED. It's advice. Wow. So he has ED. So he's writing a book, a self-help book about not being able to fully inflate. If you get what I'm saying. Isn't that interesting? Yeah, it's like the guy it's like Diddy gave him ED because he couldn't stand at attention? Wow. Are you writing a book? Yes, self-help about my ED. It's advice. In your book, do you write about your time with Diddy and Cassie? Yes, I call them a married, wealthy couple. How long is it? 6 pages out of 186. I sensationalized it. I wanted it to be enjoyable, highs and lows. So he sensationalized the book, not the 6 pages. Okay? So he, everything is a bit dramatic, right? So anyway, he's like, I wanted it to be enjoyable, the highs and lows of the situation. No further questions. So moving on, the defense. I'll try to make this as harmless as possible. Congratulations on your book. What's it called? His book is called In Search of Freezer Meat. What's harder than that? What? Oh my God. Is this a joke? Oh, come on. No, that cannot be the book. You are lying. Oh my God. What? Wait. You're telling me nobody laughed? Nobody busted out laughing in the courtroom on that ish? Is this a joke? They said, what is the title of your book? Congratulations on your book. What is the title of your book? In Search of Freezer Meat. What's harder than that? And then the defense comes back and says, good title. What? This has got to be fake. Okay, moving on. You have a website? Yes. Now I'm a co-owner. All the male dancers are independent contractors. You've been doing this for 25 years, 30 years, coming up on a big anniversary. You dance with them, a professional dry hump. For 30 years, thousands of ladies, you try not to develop feelings for them, right? You try not to. It's a job. But you talked with Cassie. Cordial. She asked to be able to call you, right? Just to set the sessions up. We were never asked to talk. She was comfortable with you. She said so. You had feelings for her? Incorrect. But you thought she was only doing this with you. That is correct. She said it was a special occasion. You did develop feelings for her. That's not correct. You told the government's notes say you developed feelings for her. That may have been taken out of context. You used her 25 years of experience. This was a different scene. I usually aim for humor. You wouldn't try to dry hump someone who didn't want to be dry humped, correct? So you wouldn't try to dry hump someone who didn't want to be dry humped, yet, correct? Yes, it is important to read the room. So you read the room with Cassie, and she wanted objection from prosecution. Judge says sustained. Was Diddy's request that you penetrate? It was a demand, a strong suggestion. Cassie paid you even when she canceled, right? Yeah, about $500. Mr. Hayes, the Punisher, Mr. Punisher, I wish you success with your book. Thank you. And they go back to the redirect. What made you think Cassie was enjoying herself? It was the first time unprotected. Without the details. Then defense says objection. Interesting. No further questions. That's interesting. Okay. So back to defense. What do you mean by steamy? Wait, hold on. I didn't see anything steaming there. But anyway, of course, this is all just like shorthand retelling. So moving back in to this conversation. What do you mean by steamy? I felt it was enjoyable for Cassie and Diddy. All right. Very interesting. So now we got another special agent or an agent that is coming in. And this is the 10th witness to date. They have taken the stand now. Now, before we get into this, what are your thoughts on what this S worker just said? Okay, first off, he is writing a book about his ED. Okay, because I guess there are a lot of men who deal with ED. I will say that, but it's interesting that he's writing a self-help book. And apparently, a part of this experience that he had with Cassie and Diddy is in this book. And apparently, he could not keep it up. That's one of the issues that they were having when they hired the Punisher. But he did do stuff with her, right? One thing is for sure, and I don't think that he helped I don't think that he helped prosecution at all. And I know that's going to make some people upset, but it is what it is. I call it like I see it, all right? Because he says it looked like Cassie was having a great time. Everything that Diddy asked her to do, she was down for it, and she was body. And now, prosecution brought him in for a reason. I just think it's just very interesting. It's just very interesting. There are moments where he couldn't get it up. He would perform with her, lots of baby oil, lots of glistening, all that stuff. But she seemed like she was enjoying it the entire time, that she was with it. No problems, no issues, right? No ifs, ands, or buts about it, right? So this is very interesting. That doesn't help. I don't think that helps prosecution, but we'll see what happens here, right? We'll see. Bernice, thank you so much for being a member for the past 7 months. I really do appreciate it. Hello to you, and I hope everything's well with you too. What's up? And Talvish, what's up? Diddy gives sticking it to the man a whole new meaning. Yes, he does. No doubt. Oh my Lord. Sticking it to the man. So let's get back into this. So now we got a federal agent. Now we got federal agents here, and they're talking about he's one of the agents that raided Diddy's home. Okay, now he's taking the stand. This is going to be interesting. So the government's 10th witness to date has taken the stand. So Gerard Gannon worked for Homeland Security Investigations and was responsible for the overall planning of the raid on Diddy's home in Miami on Star Island. This will be very interesting for sure. Okay. So he walks jury through the property raid, okay? Through Diddy's property raid. So prosecutors brought up photos of the Diddy's Star Island home as Special Agent Gerard Gannon explained how agents executed search warrants on the Miami property. He told the court the property's extensive size required dozens of people to search the 20,000 square foot home. He noted that agents cleared the house and were assigned in teams of 2 to search each room. Photographers were taking photos of items before they were bagged with a description of each item and where it was found. Gannon said it was his job to compile and itemize lists, and that he went through every piece of evidence to break it down into categories. So of course, they found photos, if they found hard drives, if they found weapons, if they found substances, he would be the one sifting all those things out and putting all those things together, right? So again, this is very, very interesting. Let me get this here really quick. The Punisher had to act in general with all the women. Same could be true for Cassie. You know what? You are absolutely right with that. That is absolutely right. And I've said this before in other videos, okay, where it's kind of trash for people to sit there and go, like what the defense was saying. Oh, you can see in the videos, she's having a blast. She's so happy. She's having the time of her life, right? When in actuality, it's like, well, maybe she's having the worst time of her life. What if she's in hell? What if she's in absolute hell? Like, what are you talking about? You know what I mean? So she may come off like she's having the greatest time with the Punisher or with Jonathan Oddie or any of these other people, right? But really terrified because he's making her do things that she doesn't want to do. So that's still very possible here, right? That's still very, very, very possible. It's sad, but again, oh, snap. Hold on. Court has adjourned for the day. Don't worry, we're going to be looking at all that stuff. But apparently, Kid Cudi will be taking the stand. They say if he does not testify tomorrow, he will take the stand on Thursday. Wow. Okay, let's take a look at what they say about this Agent Gannon. So they call Special Agent Gerard Gannon. Where do you work? Homeland Security in Miami, in the National Security Group in March 2024. So the Homeland Security Human T, okay, S and Labor in Miami. What time did the search begin? Hold on, I'm just blowing this up so you guys can see this. What time did the search begin? After 3 p.m. Why so late? We learned Diddy and his family were flying out of the country. Was there a pier on the property on Star Island? Yes, we had to monitor it just in case he tried to take off and kick mother-loving rocks, right? Why did you have to break open the gate to make sure bad actors wouldn't have time to put those who would search in danger? What's this a photo of? The pool and the pier. So after review of the 2-star island floor plan, what did you find here? Parts of AR-15 rifles, S-toys, and Astroglide. Photos of pew-pews shown to the jury. These magazines were loaded with bullets. What do these show? Serial numbers that have been cut out. Let's turn to 2 more exhibits. What are these? The ammunition we found. Are these platform high heels? How high are they? 7 inches. This may be a good place to break for the day. That's what prosecution said. And then they break for the mother-loving day. Crazy, y'all. And allegedly, if everything goes according to plan, Kid Cudi should be taking the stand tomorrow or Thursday. And nonetheless, this is bad. Here's the thing. Most hated just said Second Amendment. Here's the thing. Totally understandable. Your rights to hold on and own a weapon. That is, yes, your 2A. Definitely your Second Amendment right. But at the same time, it is heavily illegal to hold on to rifles of these types of power with the serial numbers cut out or shaded down or whatever, sanded down, right? Rubbed out or whatever you want to call it. It is bad, y'all. This is not what you want. All right? You want the serial number still on the thing. You want it still legal. You don't want a legal firearm, especially when you have firearms in your possession where the serial numbers have been rubbed out or sanded down or cut out, as he says right here. Serial numbers have been cut out. That's not good, guys. That is shady. That is shady, and it's illegal. It's illegal, everybody. It's illegal. So, okay, of course, within the confines of the Second Amendment right, you have every right to own a weapon. You have every right to own your own weapon as long within that state, as long as it's legally in your possession, and it still has all the things on it that keep it registered and all that, then you can have it. But if you have the serial number cut out, you are in a world of trouble. That is illegal. So you can miss me with all due respect. Any person that's out here going 2A, man, 2A, bro. No, you can miss me with that. Miss me with that nonsense because that's illegal. You're running around with numbers cut out of deadly weapons that are supposed to have the numbers on them. That means you have plans to use that particular weapon for no good. You have plans to do something illegal with that weapon in hopes that that weapon does not come back to you. That is illegal. Okay? Yes, NW, that's some nasty work. That's nasty work. You just don't do that. You don't do that. Now, if you wanted to have the ARs and you can have 100 of them. It doesn't matter. That's your right to own those weapons as long as the serial numbers are still on them. But if you're filing down the serial numbers on every single one of your weapons, you are doing some nasty work. And that is illegal. And if the feds catch you with that, you're in some serious trouble, y'all. And you have a whole lot of explaining to do. Real talk. You got a whole lot of explaining to do. So, again, very interesting. Hold on. We're not done yet because there is some of what happened today that I want us to check out because I thought this was some very interesting stuff.
The prosecution
from Law and Crime. Shout out to Law and Crime. Look, real talk. Because I think it's been interesting to say the least. And wow. So I think we should take a look at this. Just a little bit of this here. I think this is what they talk about in the first half of the trial. Okay.
eventually argue these are all the players in this organization, and this is why it made up a criminal.
Here we go.
Possible in the limited time I have with you. First thing I want to ask, the scene in the courtroom, because I understand there might be a new person in the courtroom. Was Diddy's sister there today?
Yep, Diddy's sister definitely was inside that courtroom. She's actually been kind of a figure that's been inside and present inside that courtroom, while the other family members, including the sons, including the daughters, including Janice Combs, Diddy's mother, haven't been inside that courtroom. But we definitely still saw Diddy's sister inside that courtroom, just kind of paying attention to everything, as well as even one of Diddy's childhood friends. He's the one who's always kind of wearing the Free Puff sweatshirt, the Free Puff hat, while he's outside of the courtroom, definitely not inside the courtroom. But yeah, definitely Diddy did have some people on his side today, but just wasn't that full family presence that we were used to seeing, especially in those first couple of days.
Yeah, it's interesting to always hear who appears there. Okay, so I have to talk about the testimony right now. We can get into David James in a little bit, but we talked about him a little bit yesterday. Talk to me about Cassandra Ventura's mother. So we knew that she was going to testify today. What was her value to the prosecution's case? Let's start there, and then we'll move into the cross-examination.
Yeah, well, initially we had thought, and by we mean me, Elizabeth, thought that Cassie's mother was inside that courtroom. I spoke with Cassie's attorney, Doug Wigder, who informed me that the person that we had initially thought was Cassie's mom was actually a victim's right advocate. So when Cassie's mom came into that courtroom, I was like, yes, this is definitely Cassie's mother, because they look so much alike. You would think that they were just looking kind of at an older version, a little bit of Cassie. But when she came inside that courtroom today to give her testimony, she just kind of walked up to the witness stand, kind of similar to how other other witnesses have been doing it. But I think most notably, Diddy didn't really look in her way or look in her direction, at least when she had first entered the courtroom, at least when Cassie came inside the courtroom to do her testimony, even if it was on a day of cross, if it was on a day of direct. Diddy would kind of turn around and look whenever she had entered that courtroom if he wasn't kind of chatting with his lawyers or anything like that. But as far as Regina Ventura coming into the courtroom today, it wasn't the same case. Diddy kind of sat while he was at his defense table chatting with his lawyers. But a lot of the testimony as far as Regina Ventura being on the stand today was kind of in relation to just everything she had witnessed from her daughter during her relationship with Diddy years before. So she had essentially said that she had met Diddy for the first time in 2006, actually when Diddy wasn't Cassie's boyfriend. This is when Cassie was actually signing to Bad Boy. Regina just knew of Diddy as Cassie's boss at the time, before the two being Cassie and Diddy began dating. They dated here in New York City, and then they had moved to Los Angeles together. And once they made that move to LA, because Regina Ventura, according to her, she had been living in New London, Connecticut for about 57 years. So she has roots here on the East Coast. So when Cassie had moved over to the West Coast, it wasn't the same situation because she's all the way on the other side of the country, essentially. And so the contact and the visits weren't as frequent as when she was here in New York. But even when she was here in New York, it wasn't that often too. But what the prosecution really wanted to know from Regina was everything that had happened specifically in December of 2011. If you guys remember that time period, that's around the time that Diddy had accused Cassie of cheating on him with Kid Cudi and the whole Kid Cudi relationship. So around this time period, Cassie came home from the holidays. We saw an exhibit photo from an email from December 23rd of 2011, where Cassie emailed her mom on this email under the email address of Veronica Bang, one of the aliases that she had used. And she also attached Capricorn Clark, who had worked for Diddy, into this email. So I was able to scribble down just as much as I could as far as what all the contents were in this email, because this is an email that we had previously seen before. And so what Cassie relayed to her mother as well as Capricorn Clark was the threats that have been made toward me the threats that have been made toward me by Sean Combs are that he's going to release 2 explicit sex tapes of me, one on Christmas Day, maybe before or right after, and another one sometime soon after.
Again, the fact that he was willing to extort her family, and then of course try to leak out this kind of footage in some sort of way, it's insane to me. I am actually kind of curious as to what was is it solely because she was starting to talk to Kid Cudi, and that's the only reason why he was willing to extort her and extort her and her parents in this way? I am kind of curious about that. Is it solely because of Kid Cudi? They also still have not talked about, which of course we're going to be hearing most likely from Kid Cudi about tomorrow, most likely, because I don't think they're going to be staying with this agent for very, very long. So tomorrow, I'm believing wholeheartedly it'll be Kid Cudi getting questioned tomorrow. But I am kind of curious about the things going boom, boom, right? His car going boom, boom. I'm very curious about that as well. But man, this dude is in serious trouble. And I'm here to see it all. Okay. Fly Gal, thank you so much for being a member for over a year now. I appreciate it. Glad you and your family are safe. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Same here. Hit that like button down below, guys, if we can. That'd be great. Love to get it to 2K before we wrap up the show. We're almost at 1.5K. If we can get it to 1.5K and then maybe just zoom it straight up to 2, that would be dope. And of course, don't forget to subscribe, okay? We're this close to 170. Isn't that crazy? 170,000 subscribers. We're almost there. We're very, very close. So please be sure to do that. Okay. Yeah. Dig. I'm telling you, what in the hell? Obama most definitely catching strays. My Lord, Obama got thrown in this mug. Okay. That is quite the statement to make. Yeah, one stop will go and do this, and this. And he sold to a lot of former presidents as well. Obama. I mean, damn, you really had to say Obama? Okay. You really had to say Obama? Damn. Right? Now, I'm wondering about that too, Lil Patty. I appreciate you asking that question. Can there be more charges pressed on Diddy? I don't know. That's the one thing. That's one thing I'm kind of curious about as well. Can they catch him with more charges now? You got to remember, statute of limitations now kind of gone now. So the certain things that he did in say 2009, 2008, 2007, whatever, may not stand. Those crimes may not stand anymore. But as far as the things that he's done over the past 3-4 years, man, he can catch some sort of charge here soon, right? But we'll see, right? So we'll see. We'll see about that. But let's hear a little bit more of this. Again, that Obama stuff threw me off, man. I like, have you guys seen this is a little bit of a throwback, but Key and Peele, all right, they did a skit where Jordan Peele was playing Obama, not the translator, which is hilarious as hell. But I'm talking about where he's like at college, he's rolling a joint. You know, they're talking about, they're talking about a little bit of, this, that, and the third. You feel me? And he's, is Obama sitting there going, we got to throw a really great party. The party's got to be amazing. And so instantly I'm like, wow, because he did talk about how he used to party back in the day. That was back in the day, though, right? Because I feel like once you become a president, you can't really do a lot of those things. Like the herb, it's herb. But that yayo, oof, that's intense. That's some pretty intense stuff. Okay. But I'm not surprised Obama smoking that herbage. I'm not surprised about that. Okay. Have you seen his lips? They're black. Okay. Like, from either smoking, because I know he's a chain smoker, but for a fact he's smoking other things. Come on. He's probably smoking them blunts. All right. Let's keep it a bean. Take a look. All right. And I get it. We all have our vices. We all need something to calm down, whatever it may be. That might be running. That might be yoga. That might be a little drink. That might be a little smoke. That might be a little smoke. You know what I mean? That might be a little hibbity dibbity. It could be a lot of things. But he allegedly had to do, everybody now is looking at Obama like, so you got something to say now? Do you know who One Stop is? Michelle Obama's like, who is One Stop? Or she already knows. It's like, damn, baby, Barry. They talked about One Stop and your name in the same sentence. How are we going to get out of this one? I'm just saying. Yeah. That's funny. Floating Lotus just said a doobie. What a fool believes. You know what I'm saying? Doobie Brothers. Nobody? Okay. I keep forgetting, not in love anymore. You know what I'm saying? So this is going to be very interesting, guys. Okay? This is going to be very interesting. Of course, I'm a trip. Of course. Because you're smoking that herbage. Okay? I'm kidding. But still. Let's hear a little bit more of this.
He also said that he will be having someone hurt me and Scott being Kid Cudi, physically. And it wouldn't be at the hands of Diddy himself. It would be essentially kind of saying that it would be up to somebody else's hands. But when Cassie's mom was on the stand and just kind of responding to everything like that, she had said things such as, the sex tapes threw me. I thought he was trying to hurt my daughter. And then they brought in that Diddy essentially demanded $20,000 from Cassie, pretty much to the point that Regina and her husband, Cassie's father, took out a home equity loan for $20,000 just to meet Diddy's demand after he had requested money. And so Regina said that Diddy was essentially angry because he had spent money on Cassie, and Cassie was with somebody else, that other person being Kid Cudi, and that Regina had sent this $20,000 check after getting this loan from the bank to the bad boy account. But here's the thing, Jesse, is just 4 to 5 days later, this check was actually returned to Regina and her family. So the money was given back to them. And this was something before the jury had even come in today that they were talking about in court outside of the presence of the jury, because the defense didn't want this testimony in. They wanted nobody to hear this testimony.
Of course
but
not.
This testimony came in today, so we did kind of know.
I want to point that out. I'm glad that we had that clarification too, that they paid him and then they got the money back. So they went, they got the loan, they paid Diddy the $20,000, and then he paid them back the $20,000. That's what she just said, which is, in my personal opinion, extremely important, an extremely important piece of information, if you ask me. But still, no matter what, the fact that they were extorted for this, for their daughter, for the sake of their daughter's livelihood, is a big freaking deal. Okay? Big freaking deal. They still had to pay it off. And I'm sure they got receipts for that too. Why would the parents, like I said, why would the parents lie about that? The parents are not lying about this. They're telling the freaking truth. That's what I truly believe. Now, I know there's somebody out there, I'm sure they're going to sit there and go, no, they're lying to save their daughter's, reputation and all that. No, they're not lying. You know for a fact that they're not lying. You want to know how I know they're not lying? It's because the defense had nothing to say. The defense had nothing to say. They said, we have no questions for this witness, after she just dropped that she and her daughter and the family was extorted, right? And instead of them going, well, didn't you get that money back? No, they said, we have nothing to ask this witness. Nothing. Because what happened to that family and to Cassie is real, guys. Period.
What a preview of it would be, and so she had testified to that fact today while on the stand. But we had seen some more exhibit photos, those taken of Regina again in that 2011 time period of Cassie being bruised. They had mentioned that Cassie, her particular hairstyle around this time was that of a shaved head. Regina confirmed that between 2009 to 2011, Cassie's hair was shaved, and that's what the hairstyle that we had seen of Cassie kind of posing with some of the bruises inflicted by her then boyfriend, that being of Diddy.
You want to know something that's really crazy? Is that after she was rocking that look, that became a look. That whole half head shaved thing. Remember that? Half her head was shaved. Very kind of punk rockish and all that. She did that whole look because Diddy said, I want you to wear that look. And she did. And of course, he still was hurting her and doing all this crazy stuff. But she shaved her head and that became a look. Everybody and their mama was trying to rock that look. That was a huge look back in the day. I mean, still people do it to this day. That look. If you only think that this came from a very, very volatile and tumultuous situation. It's so sad, man. So sad.
And so a lot of the big testimony, especially when it came to Regina Ventura being under direct examination, was about this $20,000 loan. Then there was another incident they had talked about. This one from this is from 2016. So this was around this was actually that same year the Intercontinental Hotel incident had happened, that essentially Regina traveled to LA for Cassie's birthday. Diddy took Cassie's phone after being mad at her. And then there was this whole incident where Regina called the police and that Diddy gave the phone back eventually. Regina was screaming at Diddy to give her daughter her phone back, and that Regina even owned up to the fact that she tried to hit Diddy while the person in the middle of this was D-Rock, one of the security guards, was in this kind of trying to de-escalate the entire situation. But, when it came to the cross-examination, I didn't even know what to expect for the cross-examination. But spoiler alert, there actually was no cross-examination. Mark Agnifilo got up on the stand and he essentially said, I have no questions for you, Miss Ventura. Yeah. And then Regina Ventura was off the witness stand and done for the day.
I'm sorry. Like I said, crazy, right? crazy. The fact that you have some people or have the defense team step up and they were willing to do everything they could, move the goalpost for the security guard that was in the, that was a part of the infamous hotel attack on Cassie, right? They were willing to be like, well, when he talked about the vase, he was really when he talked about giving you money, he was really talking about the damages, wasn't he? Like they tried to do everything they could, right, to change the story. All these other people, Dawn, Richard, they go in on her, and understandably, they caught her ass. I'm sorry, they caught her bad. All right. But all these other people that were willing to go in there and try to make them look like Boo Boo the fool. But then as soon as the mom goes up there and tells her story, they say, we got nothing. We gonna sit down. That is massive. That is a very big deal. If only, especially for the people, for all of us out here that believe, Diddy should be locked up for life. A lot of people, I'm sure, are wishing that the prosecution would tighten their witnesses up a little bit more so that the defense, when they go up, just say, we have nothing to say every time. But that's crazy. That's crazy. Let's hear a little bit more.
Yeah, I think that's very strategic when defense chooses not to cross-examine a witness. There might be no benefit to them. There might be nothing they need to gain. They might be accepting what she says and just recharacterizing it. Remember, big theme in this case is it might be domestic violence, might be a turbulent relationship, but it's not sex trafficking or racketeering. Okay, so Elizabeth, I know I only have a few more minutes with you, so I want to move on to the additional testimony of a man we heard about last week, The Punisher. That's his nickname. Who is The Punisher? What did he testify to so far?
Yep. Well, the Punisher, when he had come in, didn't even realize he was the Punisher. Because let me tell you something, Jesse, when we're seeing these exhibit photos of all the different men and the different escorts that were used during these freak offs or were kind of playing this type of role and these fantasies that were talked about during testimony, sometimes it's hard to be like, oh, wow, that's actually this person. So when Sheree Hayes walked inside the courtroom today, I was like, oh, they're going to have another testimony from another person who worked with Diddy. But that wasn't the case. Immediately, just right off the bat, he had said that his nickname was the Punisher and that he was a male exotic dancer. And I was like, oh, that kind of clicked. So he had walked in. He's a very tall man. He's well put together. He had an entire suit on with a tie. He's very built. And the first thing that the prosecution asked was just about the exhibit photos, those exhibit photos being just kind of a standard press photo, essentially, of Diddy and Cassie. And he confirmed that that's Cassie Ventura and that's Sean Combs, a.k.a. Diddy. And so he said in the fall of 2012, he was paid to create a sexy erotic scene for a woman who had called him. He said that he met the two while he was working at a club event, but it was a woman who had called him saying that she wanted kind of a present by her husband around her birthday time and that her husband said it was okay if she were to hire a dancer. So the Punisher initially thought that he was going to be doing kind of a dance for women at a bachelorette party, but when somebody opened the door, it was, lo and behold, Cassie Ventura. He had said that she was wearing a bathrobe and she was a wig, and initially didn't even recognize her at first. But this was this first meetup that they had, again, expecting a crowd during this, but really it was just Cassie in the room. Again, not knowing it was Cassie at the time. And then he was told that her husband wanted her to put baby oil on each other and create this kind of fantasy, this erotic scene essentially, and that Cassie handed him $800. But he had one kind of stipulation. He was told specifically not to acknowledge the husband or say anything to him. He said all the furniture was covered with sheets. There was baby oil and water off to the side, and that the Punisher and Cassie just rubbed baby oil on one another. He said after, while this was kind of going on, a man came out. He was nude. He had Astroglide in his hand, and however, his face was covered. And he says that during this, the husband, per se, was pleasuring himself and that type of thing. And the prosecution asked, was this man giving any type of direction or anything like that? The Punisher responded that that the direction was move to the side or position your body a certain way. and that this entire encounter lasted about 25 minutes to about half an hour, and that he actually didn't know it was Diddy or Sean Combs himself until later on. But he said after this whole entire encounter, he got more money, an additional $1,200. And then he was contacted again a few times. And he said he did this about 8 to 12 times even after the fact. And so that's where we would wrapped up when we were getting out of court for the lunch break. And so I expect testimony to pick up and go more into just everything the Punisher had kind of did during this entire time frame. Again, the husband that he now knows to be Sean Combs, and again the woman kind of pretending to be the wife, and this fantasy play that being Cassie Ventura. So I expect more testimony to come from the Punisher, but don't know kind of what direction that'll go into. Sometimes you just never know in this case.
I mean, let's be real. Tomorrow should be very interesting. I think tomorrow will solely because of as I was saying, I think that I think it's going to be very interesting tomorrow, solely because of Kid Cudi. The Kid Cudi stuff is going to be very interesting. Okay. No, I'm still here. I'm still here, guys. I'm still here. But I think when Kid Cudi takes the stand, that's going to be electric. That's what I truly, truly, truly believe. Okay. That's going to be interesting because he's going to tell, I'm sure, the whole breakdown of the whole story. If he knew anything about her, getting hurt or of any type of thing. Then, of course, talking about his car going boom, boom. I mean, there's so much that he, I'm sure, would love to explain. Right. Yeah, I think it's going to be very, very interesting when that all goes down. Okay. But of course, we're wrapping up now, but I will say that so far there's been a few moments where the defense has taken the lead. A few moments. But right now, prosecution is still looking pretty strong to me. But I will say this. We are still in the very beginning of this situation. We're still in the very fresh beginning stages of all this. When this all goes down, we'll see what happens when the jury makes their decision. But I can't read I can't read what the jury is thinking right now. I can't read the vibes in the room, like the atmosphere in the courtroom. All I can say is this week could be prosecution's just killing it. And then next week, it could be defense just destroying the prosecution, right? So we'll see what happens here very, very soon. And again, we'll be talking here as well soon. I will be live tomorrow morning, a few hours earlier. Just keep an eye out for it. I'll let you guys know when I post it, what time I will be live. But nonetheless, we will be live. We will be talking about this, and we will be starting earlier than noon Central Standard Time, like we have been lately. Okay, there's a lot to talk about. There's a lot going on, and I want to be able to cover the live stuff, like the moments live with you guys. Okay, but we will be talking here again very, very soon. Okay, so that is the show. But I appreciate you guys. Seriously, I appreciate you guys coming in here, being a part of the conversation. It really, really means a lot. Do me a favor before you head out. All right. Hit that like button down below. Crush it. Do what it do. Hit that reaction button if you're watching on other platforms. Okay. If you are watching on those other platforms, hit that follow button. I'm on Facebook, X/Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Rumble. Hit that follow button. Hit that subscribe button here on my main channel. Go to my second channel, The Pascal Show Clips. Subscribe over there. That'd be greatly appreciated. All right. We'll be talking here very, very soon. Subscribe. Hit that subscribe button on my second channel as well. The Pascal Show Clips. Don't forget, hit that notification bell so you know whenever I go live, whenever I upload, because it's random. Hit that join button down below. Become a member. Check out my Patreon. Check out my locals. And, of course, check out PascalMerch.com. Anyway, guys, it is time to get going. Much love to you guys. I got a lot of stuff to do. So you'll be seeing a bunch of things coming up in the next couple hours. So be on the lookout for it, okay? But it's time to get going. Much love to you guys. Be good to yourselves. Be good to one another. This is The Pascal Show. Bye.